Hi everybody, welcome to the How to Stop Stress Eating program. My name is Celestine Chua and I'm very excited to have all of you here today. So this is your 4-week program to overcome emotional eating for life. So if you're currently here right now in this course, chances are you experience emotional eating or stress eating in one way or another, and you're here to learn how to overcome that, whether in a small capacity or permanently. And I'm very happy to share with you all the tools, the frameworks, the guidelines and principles that I have learned in my journey of overcoming my own emotional eating issues to now be a very healthy eater. Okay, so here's what to expect in this course. Firstly, this is a 4-week course to overcome emotional eating. Throughout the next 4 weeks, we'll be working through the different phases of emotional eating one step at a time to finally overcome emotional eating at the end. So each week covers one of the 4 critical pillars to overcome emotional eating permanently. And I am very focused on addressing the root causes of emotional eating and not short-term quick fixes. So you're not going to be finding tips like hide the food or force yourself not to buy this chocolate or this brownie. Like these are very disciplinary, external enforcement type approaches, which is not what I'm going for. I'm really looking at diving deep and addressing the root causes so that you permanently eradicate emotional eating for the rest of your life. So at the end of the program, you should know the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical reasons behind your emotional eating, and you should be able to resolve the bulk, if not all, of your underlying emotional eating issues. Now, of course, the amount of progress you're able to make will be dependent on how much effort you're willing to put into the course and the exercises and action steps thereafter. So really, I'm here to share with you all the tools that I've used to overcome my own emotional eating issues. And at the end of the day, it'll be up to you to take action and apply it to your own life. So as you can see in modules 1 worksheet, there are blanks throughout the worksheet, and this is the same for the activity worksheets for module 2, 3, 4. So before each week's module, have your worksheets ready because you're going to be doing some copying of the content that you learn in the session itself. Now the reason behind this is because when you write down something in writing, it helps to solidify what you have learned. And during the exercises, there will also be questions they'll be asking you to reflect on, and you'll need to do more writing then. So modules 1 activity worksheet is for module 1 today, and as I'm presenting later on through the slides, you're going to see that the points correspond to the slides. So as I talk, you can write at the same time. Okay, so at this point, any questions? Anybody? Okay, so if no questions, we're ready to begin. Okay, so let me share with you guys my story. So me personally, I used to be a serious emotional eater growing up. Okay, I ate in response to everything, which usually results in more eating thereafter. So what happened is that I grew up in an Asian culture, and a lot of times in Asian culture, in Asian family households, people tend to use food as a symbol of love. So what that means is that instead of the usual "I love you," "I miss you," "How are you?" "Can I give you a hug?" These are the normal ways people use to express their love, but rather than using that, a lot of Asian parents tend to use food as a way to express their love. So what they'll do is they'll ask, "Have you eaten? Are you hungry? Can I cook something for you? Can I buy breakfast for you? Can I buy lunch for you? Can we go and have dinner together?" Or something along that lines. So it's really using food as this symbol, this tool, this medium to express love. So because of that, I grew up having subconscious beliefs that food to me is a representation of love. So food is a way to love myself, and whenever I feel stressed, whenever I feel anxious, whenever I feel upset, I will immediately turn to food thereafter. So this stress can be anything. It can be during exams. When I'm stressed out with exams or having to study, I will be eating. When I am stressed out with having a lot of things to do, I'll be eating as well. Or when I'm stressed out with, say, my work, my business, my career, then I'll be turning to food as well. And the interesting thing is that for the most part of my life, this actually happened subconsciously. Like, I didn't even know that I was eating in response to stress. I didn't even know that I was emotional eating at that point in time. All I thought was that I'm hungry, I need to eat, and I just reach out for food. So the great thing about all of you here in this course right now is that you actually recognize that a part of your eating behavior is actually emotional eating. And because of that, you're actually ahead of a lot of people in the curve, because most people actually emotional eat, but they do not know. They are just being reactants, responding to the subconscious triggers in their minds. So the great thing about this, you being here, is that you are actually conscious of that. Okay, and the funny thing is, I wasn't just an emotional eater to stress. I was also an emotional eater to other feelings. Happiness, anger, sadness, hating myself, self-punishment. Okay, food to me was also a self-punishing tool. So, especially if I binge ate, I will feel very angry at myself for, say, slipping off my diet track, for quote unquote losing control of my diet and my healthy eating habits, and then I'll eat more thereafter because I would think, I've already eaten so much, what's the worst thing that can happen? I might as well just eat more and then eat myself to death. So food to me was a symbol of many things on top of just a symbol of love. The great thing is that I was able to overcome my emotional eating after many years. I was an emotional eater from as far as I can remember, all the way up to, say, about when I am 25 or 26. That's when I started gaining consciousness of my emotional eating problems, and from there I began working through it, like step by step, one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 week, 1 month, just going on working through it. And probably like about 1 to 2 years ago, I finally overcame my emotional eating problems for good. And the great thing about this is that I didn't actually overcome my emotional eating from discipline or self-control. No, these were the ways that I probably used in my early 20s. And I realized that at any one point when I stopped enforcing the discipline or self-control, the erratic eating behavior then seep right back in. So when that happens, that means that the original problem actually has never been resolved at all. So I'm always someone who works on the root cause and solving a problem for good, and I'm sure you are too, and that's why you're here. So that's what exactly I did. I addressed my emotional eating by working on my emotional eating issue from inside out. And this is what I'm here to share with you today. How many of you here can relate to my emotional eating story? Like you would eat in response to everything, be it happy emotions or stress, anxiety, anger. Okay, Nancy says me, Deborah says me, Matt says yes, I definitely can, and Faye says me too. Okay, so that's great. The great thing about this course is that all of you are actually here to learn about emotional eating together. And if you have emotional eating problem, you are actually here to work through it together as a group. So at any point in time, don't ever feel like you're alone in this, because you're not. Okay, we are all here to support each other. A lot of times, stress eating comes from working through stress in an inaccurate manner, and you have just been using food as a stress mechanism. So the last thing you should do is to feel stressed about not being able to address your stress eating or emotional eating. Okay, so don't feel bad about it. Always know that we're here to support each other. There are other people in this world with this same problem, and it can be resolved. Like, it can be overcome as long as you use the right techniques and tools. Okay. Okay, so at this point, let's step back a bit from what we've talked just now. And some of you might have seen this example from the previous course that we just did, which is the anti-procrastination course. So if that's the case, just let's go through this exercise as you did in the beginning. Now, what do you guys see in this picture right now on the screen? Weeds, right? Deborah says weeds. Okay, so here we see this garden, and on this garden we see this patch of weeds. Now, I don't know if any of you have a garden, but if we have a garden, what do you want to see in our garden? Do we actually want to see weeds, or do we actually want to see something else? Right, Wana says flowers. If we have a garden, we want to see beautiful flowers blooming. We don't really want to see green weeds covering the land, because that's just not what we are having a garden for. So if we have a garden and there are weeds, and we want to remove these weeds, what are some of the ways we can use to remove weeds? Okay, great. Okay, Wana suggests pulling them by the hand. That's great. Janet says pull them out and throw them away. Deborah says pull them out. Great. Faye says weed killer. Okay, that's great. So spraying the weed killer and killing the weeds. Okay, so there are other ways that we use to remove weeds. We can use the scissors. I mean, that's instantaneous, right? use the scissors, cut them. Isn't it fast? Like just grab the scissors from the kitchen and then you can snip the weeds away. Okay, another way, a fast, big, huge machine, lawnmower. Okay, we can use a lawnmower and then in say 30 minutes flat, you can clear one whole patch of land of all the weeds and you'll be nice and trim and beautiful and great. Okay, and Deborah also says like maybe stop watering them so the weeds after not receiving any water, maybe they'll just die out. But one thing about weeds or grass in general is that we can't stop the rain from coming down, and they also tend to be pretty resilient, so they're able to survive and they're pretty tough. What you see now is actually a cross section of a weed, and this surface portion is actually what everybody see in life. Like here's a weed, and you want to remove it, okay, use the scissors, cut it, use a lawnmower, mow it, and if it's gone, you don't see the weed anymore, then it's gone. Problem solved, resume, return to life. Okay, but is that really true? When you use the scissors to cut it and you use the lawnmower to mow the weed away, is it true that the problem is gone? Okay, Wana says no, and why is it not the case? Deborah says no as well. Right. Matt says no, there's still a root. Wana says the roots are still there. Great. Okay, so the problem when you try to use surface approaches like say scissors, the lawnmower, is that yes, the weed may seem like it's gone, but underneath there is still the root. And the thing is that as long as the root remains, the weed will continue to grow. The problem will continue to manifest itself in your life. And you can try to clear the weed as much as possible. You can try to clear the problem as much as possible, as many times as you want in your life. But as long as the root remains, this problem will continue to manifest itself over and over and over and over and over again until the roots are finally removed. Okay, and this at this point is where I want to say that this actually applies to emotional eating as well. And here I would like to bring you to